Gibbons chapter 1 was really interesting just because it talked about scaffolding language and learning. One of the most important concepts that I thought was interesting was treating EL learners as the people they can become. And that means that we see the students not in terms of what they lack, but as capable and intelligent learners who, with the right kind of support, are able to participate in learning and achieve academically as their English speaking peers. And so this is really important because we know that motivation is really important when it comes to learning. Like if your teachers don't believe in you and they don't think that you can do it, chances are you're going to think that you can't do it either. Another important concept was context of situation, which is the particular occasion on which the language is being used. So basically, language varies according to the context of the situation, and it depends on what it's being talked about, the relationship between the speakers, and whether the language is spoken or written. I thought this was really interesting because, as I've noticed, it's different when I have conversations with my professors as opposed to when I'm talking to my friends or when I'm writing an email or sending someone a text message. So second language learners are more likely to develop conversational language rapidly, but registers associated with academic learning may take more time to develop. So basically this means that it's easier to learn how to talk normally in everyday conversation and have like informal conversations than it is to kind of master the academic language. And I actually see this a lot with especially we're learning in our other class about how long-term English learners have kind of the same problem with this. They're able to, you won't even know that they're an English learner because they're able to talk normally, they're able to talk fluently, but when it comes to academics, they kind of have a hard time with the academic language. And so it's important to think about students' previous language experience because it's difficult to learn a new language as well as learn in it. So basically just throwing students in mainstream classrooms really is not key. They need to have ELD classes. They need to have classes that are specialized that can help them with their language development as well as their content area. And I thought it was really interesting to learn about sociocultural theory by Lev Vygotsky, which is basically like human development is social, not individualistic. And he kind of talked about the zone of proximal development and scaffolding, which I thought was really interesting. So scaffolding is temporary but essential nature of mentors assistant in supporting learners to carry out tasks successfully. It's not just helping, but you're helping the learner move towards new skills, concepts, or levels of understanding. And this is especially important because it's really important to have students in high challenging, high support classrooms where the teacher expectations are high, and this leads to English learners as well having high achievement. All learners need to be engaged with cognitively challenging tasks, and so we can't really be watering down the material for our students. They need to be able to make those connections. They need to have rigor. Tasks must not be simplified. Scaffolding instead. You must scaffold instead and change the nature and amount of scaffolding provided so the outcomes are the same for all students. So this way you're kind of using scaffolding to kind of bring all students up to the same level, but just in different ways.